Welcome back to the United Stand. My name is Mordzs, and look, we have a huge game. Manchester United are playing Lyon in the second leg of the Europa League quarter-final. Look, I am very excited about today's game. This is obviously United's biggest game of the season. I feel like every game in the Europa League right now is United's biggest game of the season, but so far, we have to win this game. So we're going to go through everything today. We're going to go through the lineups, we're going to go through predicted lineups, we're going to go through obviously the first leg and kind of how that went, and also the future of United depending on today's result. Because, you know, whether we win or lose, the rest of our season can look very different. Now, look, I am not here by myself. I've got two very special guests. I mean, first of all, I'm going to introduce Jordan. I mean, resident, you know, Europa League panelist. He only comes on for Europa League games. And we've got a special guest, somebody new. We have Humzy. Humzy, how are you doing?
Oh, bro, I'm very grateful to be here, man. This is my United Stand debut.
Yeah.
And we chosen the most important game of the season for it.
100%. And look, I like that scarf. I like that scarf.
You know the story.
Explain where you got that scarf from.
So yeah, last week me and Mordzs were lucky enough to be at the first leg, and we really thought we had it in the bag. We thought we were coming out, but no, not quite. We go again today, and you know, 50-50 scarves, you don't actually get to wear them ever. So I thought, you know what, this is the only time you'll see me in one. Let's go.
Bring it out. And Jordan, how are you feeling as well? So you've not been on for a while, so how are you feeling in general, just about United?
I was on last week, what are you on about? I was last week.
Yeah, we were
I wasn't on that week.
I wasn't on.
I wasn't on the Europa League game. That's why I completely forgot. But, so you were on last week. But anyway, how are you doing anyway?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm still positive, even given everything that's happened.
Yeah.
I said last week, look, as long as we worry about ourselves, we'll be good. We worried about ourselves last week. That was the best version of Lyon at home. Like Humzy was saying, that atmosphere was mental. That came across on the TV. It felt hostile. I've just been in the city centre as well. The away fans have travelled in big numbers, and they are leery. Like, so they are definitely up for it. And I think we'll be good today. We just need Onana to just behave himself.
I mean, we'll talk about that. We'll get onto Onana. We did a bit of a big section.
Behave. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get onto the players, but I mean, you spoke about the atmosphere. I mean, Humzy, you speak about that because honestly, that was crazy last week.
Honestly, that will leave a lasting impact on me, bro. That atmosphere. And I remember saying, like, I felt intimidated. I felt shook. Never mind the players. I'm not even playing in the game. But the hissing every time Onana even breathed, bro, they were like down his back. And it was crazy. So I felt like if we got a result in that game, then I'd be very proud of the players. And we were very close, bro. Like, we dominated them. And like you said, that was them at their best. That was them with 12 players because of the crowd, literally. And if we could do that in that game, then I'm confident, bro. We've got a very positive panel today. It's carefully curated, but I really like that.
No. Do you know what it is? Like I said, our best form has been in Europe. Some of our best individual performances have been in Europe. We're at home. We're up for it. Magic things going to happen in Old Trafford on a European night. I mean, you look in the last round. We absolutely slayed them when we got home. So that's what we need today. We need our big players to turn up and no mistakes. We'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, the no mistakes is probably
it's
the key factor in this. But I mean, I want to kind of start off talking about that first game, just kind of review how United have done so far. You spoke about the atmosphere. I mean, I agree. That was genuinely, like, I could feel it in my chest. We were probably the only, in our section, we might be the only United fans that were there. And the way their stadium's kind of set up, the United fans are just like kind of tucked away in a corner. You can't see them, you can't hear them. Doesn't matter how loud they were.
Were you like actually on enemy territory? Like,
no, it's kind of like meant to be a neutral-ish zone, some hospitality, right?
Okay.
But obviously everyone around us was still a Lyon fan. And like you said, I've never been to a stadium where it's so cheeky, bro. They literally put the United fans
in the
so
back
far, man.
Yeah, you can't see them at all. I feel like United need to do that with the new stadium. Just have a little small section in the back corner where you can't really see them, see the away fans. But like I said, the energy, the atmosphere that the Lyon fans came with, in my opinion, that's probably the reason why they actually ended up getting a result, you know, because forget the goals. Even when we scored our goals, that's when they were the loudest. That's when they were cheering the loudest. That's when they were behind their team the most. And one thing that I feel like for today is United fans need to do the same thing. We need to be behind our team, even if we do concede, which we do a lot. You know, we concede pretty much every game. We need to stick behind the players, stick behind, you know, the players that Amorim picks to put out today. I mean, we're going to get into the lineup, but it comes out, I think, quarter two. Think about quarter to the lineup's going to come out and we'll see the players that are on the pitch. But regardless of who he does pick, we need to stick behind those players. We need to be that 12th man on the pitch.
100% 12th man is the key. And just talking about last week's game, they targeted Onana. They knew what the weak link was. Matic set him up leading into the game. He played into Matic's hands by responding. He should have just focused on his game. Instead, he's put the pressure on him, and it's a siege mentality. Every player on that pitch was like, right, we're going to shoot on sight. We're going to put the pressure. The fans, like you said, booing, hissing every time the ball went near Onana, and he crumbled. The reverse of that is he's at home now. We'll all be behind him, even as nervous as we are about him. We've got to support every player on that pitch today.
Do you reckon he plays though? Like, do you reckon that's the right option? Are we all of a sudden in the Onana section now? Yeah,
he's playing. Amorim did say yesterday he is playing.
Amorim said
he
playing.
I don't know about that, you know, bro. I don't know about that.
Okay, go on. In your opinion, who should play? Obviously, the only other option is Bayern there.
No, it isn't.
Oh, Tom Heaton.
Tom Heaton's cool, calm, collected, bro. Obviously, I'm joking now. But Bayern there, yes, he made a mistake on Sunday, but he's not had a run of games, so I don't think that writes him off. I think, you know, I just keep remembering the game where he actually had a man of the match performance and he saved a few penalties. The Onana thing makes me nervous because I'm just thinking, if I'm him, like that is so much pressure. But these guys are professional footballers, so you hope that he can just like siege mentality as well and just return that with his energy and just deliver. But it doesn't fill me as a fan with the most confidence.
So in the fan forum last week, I just made a bold statement. And people were like, oh, you're being emotional, whatever. And I basically said, I'll say calmly now, I do not want to ever see Onana in a Manchester United shirt again. Now, everyone's like, listen, you're being emotional. Blah, blah, blah. Listen, I've seen enough of him to know what he's about.
I don't think you're being emotional.
And I stand on it. A week later, I've calmed down, still hurting. If Onana makes a mistake tonight and we go out, it's now on the manager. The manager should have made a decision to not play him. And that's it. He cost us Champions League football last year, and he potentially is going to cost us the same again. And non-emotional now, I've calmed down. I do not want him to start. Will I back him? Will I support him? Of course I will. But if it was me making the decision, I wouldn't start him.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
I agree. I said it on the last forum against Newcastle. Obviously, those two players that I've looked at recently, and I said, you know what? If they play this quarter-final game and we lose, I'm blaming the manager. The two players was Højlund and Onana. And I said to myself, now that Xerxes is injured,
he has to play.
He kind of has to play anyway, so I'm not really too bothered about that in terms of Amorim. But with Onana, I said, look, you can't keep making the same choice, it backfiring, and then pretending that like it's all on the player. Yes, the players should obviously take blame, and we should constructively criticise the player for the mistakes that they made. At the end of the day, the manager picks the players. The manager has the choice of multiple players to pick from. If you see that one player has been a big liability for us, as in literally costing us games, as in 3 points have gone, obviously in the league, but in the Europa League, we've lost games because of one particular player, and you pick that player and they do it again, how can you completely just blame the player? You have to go and then look at the manager and say, look, you've made a bad choice.
Oh, do you know what though? Like, I think with the Bayern situation, like people were saying in the comments, oh, he's not better than Onana or whatever. Do you know the difference is that with Onana, it's the defenders around him have no confidence in him whatsoever. There's moments where players are about to pass back to him and look at him and think, nah, I'm not going to do it. Balls going into the box, there's just a nervous energy. And I know Bayern makes mistakes or whatnot, but I've seen enough of Onana to make a decision and go, do you know what? He's not the one. But Bayern, like, if he hadn't got injured, I honestly think he would have replaced Onana.
Yeah, if he hadn't got injured, but I actually think that's a part of the reason why we can't the manager can't confidently play him in this game. I think the fact that he's not had that run of games, he's just come back from injury, it must be because, you know, he's not an idiot. He's not going to risk, like you're saying, his credibility on chancing Onana again if he had a ready-made alternative. And maybe it's the case that Bayern is simply not good enough, or maybe it's a case of the injury. I don't know. There isn't another valid option, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, look, but let's run a poll on that. If you had the option anyway, I know Amorim has said Onana is going to start, but if you had the option, if you was Amorim, who would you start in net today? Bayern, Onana? Let's just put those two, because I know the Tom Heaton one, people are going to pick him
I
just
ran
for
a
the sake.
poll on my gram and they voted Tom Heaton.
Yeah, they did that on the Newcastle. I think it was the Newcastle one. They did the same thing. It's like 35% Tom Heaton.
Justice for Tom.
But we're not going to. He might not even be on the bench. So we're going to do a poll between those two players. If you were to pick anyway, Will you pick Onana or Binay? And also, make sure you're getting in your super chats. We've got a good show today, so we want to make sure you guys are getting involved. Send in your super chats, any topics that you want to discuss, any points that you want to make for us to also discuss. Send in your super chats, and we're going to read them out, and we're going to talk about them. So, I mean, we'll let that poll go, and then we'll see who the people pick. But still, I want to kind of go back again onto that game. In your opinion, how do you actually feel like United did in terms of our offensive attributes? Because I feel like with us defensively we've been pretty solid. Obviously barring a couple injuries, De Ligt's obviously been injured, Martinez's been injured, Aiden Heaven's been injured, but in general I still feel like defensively it's probably been our strongest part of the pitch. Offensively is where the problems kind of come. How well do you think that we did in that last game against Lyon when in terms of scoring goals?
Do you know what? I thought the substitutions completely changed the game. I thought Mount coming in added energy. Xerxes is going to be a big loss. I think his link-up play, his ability to play deeper and bring people into the game. Højlund he wasn't good, was he? I'm going to just be as respectful as I can be. He wasn't good. Xerxes will be a big loss today. And Mainoo come in. Energy straight away. Pick the ball up, can run at defenders, can make things happen, can see a pass. I thought until we made those substitutions, it was a bit flat, but we were in the game. And that's what you want when you're away from home. The important thing is, I think if we were going into the game and we said, right, we're going to take them to Old Trafford and be level, we would have all gone, yeah, we'll take that. I think because of how it panned out and the fact that we were winning and the mistakes that were made, we all felt like it was a loss. It wasn't a loss, so you've got to take some positives from it. I feel like today I'd like to see Mount there. I think he understands the formation. You've heard Amorim talk about him saying, look, even if Mount can give me 10 minutes, I'm going to look at him as an option. There comes a point where you've got to start these players and go, right, they can offer a bit more offensively. I'm gonna bring him in. So I do want to see some people come in. And for me, Mount would be one of them. Yeah.
How about you offensively? In general, what were the kind of the positives that Kelly took from the first leg?
What were the positives is I'd say the mentality, because like I said, we were there, the atmosphere was crazy. So the fact that we were able to go 1-0 down, keep our heads, come back into the game and almost win the game, the biggest positive for me was that's character. Do you know what I mean? And we have seen that a few times under Amorim, that sort of not giving up and keeping calm and managing to get some sort of result. In terms of offensively, I think, obviously we had the bigger chances, and I just want to second what you were saying then about your Mount and Mainoo as well, because we're lacking obviously players who can create something out of nothing, who can have an individual moment which will win a game. Obviously Xerxes was one of them players, so it is a big loss at the end of the day, because you look at the difference at Højlund and Xerxes right now. Højlund is not creating something out of nothing. You don't fancy him to just sort of there's a half chance and he manages to shift it and bang. Xerxes, it could be nothing happening, but he takes it under pressure, he takes a risk and something can happen. Mount is another one of them players, even though he's not doing it right now, you know he can do it. So I'd really like to see Mount, and of course Kobbie Mainoo, your doppelganger, is no. There's context. We made a prank video in it where I was pretending to be Lenny and he was pretending to be Kobbie, even though the resemblance for either of us is not really there. But Kobbie's another one.
You're trying to see it, you can't see it.
You can't really see it, innit? But Kobbie, another one. He can give us a magical moment. So man, I'd love to see them two in the starting 11.
I mean, we're gonna go through kind of the team, but just to kind of go off what you guys said, I think the Xerxes miss right now, for some reason it feels like every time something positive seems to be happening offensively, they just end up getting injured, or something negative ends up happening. I mean, look at Ahmad. He was kind of on his best form of his career. All of a sudden he's out for the season. I mean, we did see him at training yesterday and he was running. So there is a lot of progression, you know.
How much was he doing?
Enough to be in the squad?
No.
I don't think. He wasn't with the team.
He was out on his own, wasn't he? I've seen your video. I could see him out
he was by himself, so he definitely won't be in the squad today. But he was running on grass. He was, he's out on the field, so it's not like he's still, in the back. Like, to some players like Martinez, those kind of players, don't really expect to see a lot of them. But Ahmad, he was out, he was running, I think he was in a little bit of ball work, I'm not 100% sure. But it is a positive. We do want to see that. We do want to see, obviously, Ahmad come back. Hopefully for the final, in my opinion. If we get to the final, hopefully we do get to the final, I want to see Ahmad play. So, but back to my point I'm trying to make, again with Xerxes, it kind of felt like something was just changing, something was switching, something just clicked. I mean, that Newcastle game, there was that one chance with him and Bruno where they had like a little 1-2, and he didn't just miss, he had a good attempt, and the keeper saved it. But it was that kind of play which I thought, we're not going to get that from anybody else. We don't have that link-up play from any other player in our team, and Xerxes is the only player that can provide it. I'm looking at the team right now, and yes, like you mentioned Mount, you mentioned Kobbie Mainoo, and I actually rate them both more than Xerxes in general. In general, but the fact that they're both just coming from injury, you can't really put too much, not say pressure, but we don't know what's going to be happening. We don't know how well they're going to come back. We haven't really seen a lot of them to say, you know what, over a full 90 minutes, they're going to give you 8 out of 10 performance. Hopefully they do. I mean, I'd hope that they can give that performance, but it's a bit still very early for us to kind of say that. I mean, just focusing on those 2 10 positions, I mean, Jordan, we'll go to you. Who would you start today?
Who would I start, or who do I think is going to start?
We can do both.
Okay, I think he seems to like Garnacho in there.
Yeah.
So I can't see that really changing. I think it will be Garnacho and Bruno. I really don't think he's going to change the central midfielders. I think he will play safe. We've got to remember that we would have won last week 2-0. It was two mistakes.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going to think, right, we're on the back foot here, we need to make drastic changes. I think he will play it safe and rely on our better players to show up and to grab those moments. So yeah, I think it will be Garnacho and Bruno in those positions. I'd probably start Mount. I'd go Mount and Bruno and bring Garnacho on from the bench.
Mount and Bruno, how about you?
It's an interesting one, that, yeah. I think, obviously, we know that he's going to go with Garnacho and Bruno, like you said.
Yeah.
And as you were speaking, I was thinking, I'd probably do the same. I see the argument with Mount. It gives us that bit of solidity, but I think what Mordzs was saying before, like, we don't actually know, like, what
he's got
Mount... Yeah, we don't actually know. Whereas I think, imagine if we could get like that Mount performance, this could be the game where like he arrives. And for me, Garnacho, we've seen his best form for United off the bench, to be honest. Like over his time at United in the first team, I actually do believe his best performances have come as an impact sub. But I still would start him because otherwise I don't see the outlet. You know what I mean? And he did have a good game-ish. You know, he scored. He took his goal well in the last game against Newcastle. So yeah, I think that's what Amorim would go with, and I'd go with the same.
Do you know what? Just jumping in on that, where I'm at with Shaw, Mount, not so much Kobbie, because like it's not a historical thing with him and injuries, but with Shaw and Mount, you've got to get to a point where it's like, I'm going to play these players till they break, because they're literally just sat on the bench. How are we going to know what they can offer? And for me, Mount has come on and has injected energy, pace and whatnot, and understands the formation. And like we keep saying, we don't know what he can do, what he can offer. But at what point are we going to find out? Yeah. And like you sign a player on that much money, you give them the number 7 shirt. These are the kind of games that you want him to impact.
Nah, I'm sold, bro. Throw him in the deep end now, bro. Nah, I actually am. Swear down. You're right.
Play him till he breaks.
Throw him in the deep end today.
Play him till he breaks.
Nah, you're right, though. Money Mace. Today's the day.
I mean, I want to see Mount play just because I feel like, in general, I think he's a better player than Garnacho. So I think in general, so I would actually, if they were both, my whole thing is if they were both at their best, and I feel like we say that every single time Mount's available. If we can get Mount at his best, if we can get him at full fitness, he is a very good player. Like from what we've seen anyway in the past. I just don't believe that player is still there, or we can get that player anytime soon. Maybe by the end of the season we might see that player fully come out. But I don't have that much confidence in Mount to just play him until something happens. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I do agree though with the whole Garnacho outlet thing. He is kind of the only player that we can use on the break, which is something that United tend to use very often anyway. You know, because let's be honest, only real two quick-ish attacking players is Garnacho and Højlund. Højlund doesn't necessarily use it a lot. He's more of for some reason, more of a target man, even though...
Who's told him to do that? Who's told him to do that? He's not a target man.
I don't know. I just feel like we just kick it to him every time and hope that it sticks, and it never does stick.
Yeah.
But Garnacho is the only player where I look at and think he actually does get in behind, he does get into those positions very well. So I can see Amorim doing that. Like I said, like I said before, if I was Amorim, or if I'm thinking like Amorim's probably going to pick Garnacho and probably Mount, or he might just go with Garnacho and Bruno and then put to like Casemiro and Ugarte.
Yeah.
But if I was just picking a team anyway, I would happily go with a Mount and a Mainoo. Because in my opinion, Mainoo is still one of our best midfielders.
Yeah.
I still feel like whenever he comes on the pitch, even since he's come back from injury, he's still shown something that all the other players can't really provide, and it's that composure on the ball, it's that press resistance, it's that ability to be able to always play the right pass and play the simple pass and keep things ticking.
Yeah.
And especially around that final third, he is very, very good. So I feel like in that 10 position, I mean, before he got injured, he was kind of playing there anyway a little bit.
Yeah.
And we saw a good link-up play from him and Ahmad. But we didn't get to see a lot. He kind of got injured very quickly and that kind of fizzled out. So in my opinion, I still want to see Mainoo and potentially a Mount play there. I want you to speak as well on Mainoo. Do you feel like he has a place in the starting 11 today? If he is at full fitness, do you feel like he has a place in the starting 11 today? Or would you still kind of hold him back and say, you know what, sit on the bench and then possibly come on as a sub?
I think, you know, when you were speaking then, what I was thinking to myself is, we actually do have a decent amount of depth today. You know what I mean? Like, if we've got Mainoo coming off the bench, we're in a good position. If we've got Garnacho coming off the bench, Mount coming off the bench, they don't have that, bro. This is filling me with confidence, this conversation, because these are big name players who could have a moment, could affect the game, like you're saying. So yeah, that was a side note. I'm actually thinking, you know what, we've got a good.
We can change things around.
Yeah, we can, bro. We can tweak things. Yes, we've lost Xerxes. Yes, we don't have the option with Ahmad. But we've had these big injuries and we still got options, man. We're not in as bad a position as maybe people make out or people think. Do you know what I mean? So like, they haven't got that. They literally haven't got any names coming off the bench. I can't name one. Yeah. But yeah, so to answer the question, do I reckon Mainoo warrants to start? No, I think we shouldn't change too much from the game where technically he coached a 2-0 win, like you said, apart from Onana mistake. So I would actually go with that. It's the same starting 11. I would.
Go on, Jordan.
No, I'm just going to say, I feel like you're right. We've got a couple of players coming back from injury, but Mount is probably ahead of those in terms of come back from injury. So you're saying about Mainoo and Mount, I'd love to see them both in that starting 11, but realistically, if we're only going to start one coming back from injury, we can only start one. I would probably go Mount. Yeah. But yeah, for me, Mainoo is one of our best midfielders, and once he's up to speed, he's got to play week in, week out. Yeah. But where he goes, I don't know if Amorim does see him as the 10 and will play him there, or, I mean, Ugarte and Casemiro, that is quite negative long term. There's games away from home and you want to keep it tight and whatnot, you're going to play both of them. But what are the options? Do you drop Bruno back and play alongside Ugarte, and then you could put Mainoo into the 10? So this is why the manager gets paid the money he gets paid to make those decisions. But for me, I just think Mount is just ahead in terms of fitness.
One thing we didn't consider is Mainoo striker. Because he played it once.
Crystal Palace.
Remember when he played Mainoo striker?
Yeah, it kind of worked for about 10 minutes.
I don't want to see that again.
But that 10 minutes though, bro, we found our number 9.
I think he hit the post actually.
For 10 minutes, like, we'd found him. And then I don't know what happened.
I won't ever see that again.
Couple super chats here. Remember, like I said, make sure you send in your super chat so we can discuss your points, so you can get involved in the conversation. Big game today. Let's be a bit positive as well in the chat, because we want to get behind the team. I want to feel the energy outside of Old Trafford today. You know what I mean? So let's keep the positive energy. And like I said, send in your super chats. We've got one from Jamie94 French. He says, £5 to take the scarf off.
Oh really?
It's a half and half.
I know half and halves aren't normally popular, right? And I hold my hands up. I'm also like one of them, never wore a half and half. But I'm never gonna get to wear it again, man.
Yeah, you get one chance. You get one chance.
And it shows that I'm a dedicated fan. Yeah. You can only get this if you were in that stadium last week supporting your team away. So I will not be criticised for a symbol of support.
Bro, you are getting absolutely slaughtered in the comments.
Am I
for this half and half?
But mate, you know what? I'll just have to accept it. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I actually agree. You're never going to get a chance to wear it again.
Yeah,
so
that's my argument.
Yeah. Another super chat from Cody W. I'd like to see Garnacho come from the bench, especially with Højlund having to start. The chemistry is not good together up front. I mean, we just speak a little bit about Garnacho, but what do you think about him being more of an impact sub and also his connection with Højlund?
Yeah, he's shown some of his better form coming off the bench. Yeah. It's his decision making. He gets into positions constantly where you're like, this is it now.
Yeah.
And it's almost like he's decided how he's going to celebrate before the ball's hit the back of the net. Like he's like, shall I go sit on the side? I'm like, score first and then decide. Let the emotion take away. But he's already peeled off in his head and he's celebrating. One of the interesting things is that Højlund doesn't seem to be playing 90 minutes. So if you were to make a substitution, who's coming off for him? And that may be in Amorim's thinking is that, well, actually, let me get 60 minutes out of Højlund and then bring Garnacho on.
But then what would you do?
Then we ain't got much up there with thin on top. Yeah. So I think given that he probably will play the 90 minutes. But in terms of impact, you look at the other options and Garnacho probably would be the most impactful attacking substitution we could potentially make. Yeah. But I think it's all hypothetical. I think he will start Garnacho.
Yeah, I think he will start. But I do think that the Garnacho off the bench thing, we have been saying that for quite a while now, let's be honest. I think we've been saying that the whole season, about Garnacho coming off the bench. Yeah. We did have more options before, so it made a lot more sense to say Garnacho off the bench because we had, like I said, we've had the Mounts, the Mainus, the Brunos, etc. that have been available, Ahmad, etc., Xerxes, to say, okay, Garnacho might not even get above those players, so it makes sense for him to be on the bench. But the position that we are in right now, there just isn't many options, so it doesn't make sense to drop him, especially seeing as he has actually scored in the last few games. He scored against Newcastle, which I thought was a great finish. I think we just give him credit. He's running behind and it's like I think it was a right-footed finish into that bottom corner with a bit of pressure on him as well. So I thought I'd got to give him credit for that goal. And obviously in Leicester, before the international break, he did get another goal there. So I think he, compared to the other United players, he might be just behind Bruno and Ahmad for goals. I think he might be our third top goal scorer this season, which it's not great because we haven't actually scored a lot of goals, so I don't think his number's that high. But to say that he's terrible, or to say that he's not, been good enough to start over certain players, seeing as he has actually got some goals for us, which we've desperately needed. You've got to give him a little bit of credit in that respect to say that, fair enough.
It is his decision making that lets him down. He gets into those positions. The goal he scored against Newcastle, he gets into that type of position 2 or 3 times a game.
Yeah, regularly.
Like that's his finishing move. That is him. And he just lets himself down. Like, how many times he get in that position, he pings out for a throw in. Like, do you know what I mean? So, like I said, I think mentally he thinks he's the finished article, or like he's peeling off for his celebration in his head, and he could be potent for us, but he's just got to learn end product, and he will be there.
Do you think Garnacho's been managed well? In general, since he's come to, he came to the club when he was 17 from Atletico Madrid. We bought him for like £400,000, something like that. He played a couple years, maybe in the academy, maybe 1 or 2 years. He obviously won the Youth Cup with Kobe Mainoo, a couple other players. And then pretty much from that point, he became a first-team player at the age of 18, 19. Since then, he's been playing. I think the first half season that he played, he was a sub. But then since then, he's been pretty much one of our starters. Do you feel like he's been managed in the best way to develop his talent?
I think there's 2 ways to look at it. Obviously, on the one hand, you could say, and I know a lot of people do think this as well, that he should have been eased into the starting 11 a little bit more. There shouldn't be that demand on him to be there out and out every single week. He's like got that winger position locked off, and sort of that's, people are saying one of the reasons why he's not done as well, because he's sort of been bred into that a bit too early, innit? Do I think that? To be honest, bro, I just think, you get your time, you get your moment at whatever age that is. If you're the guy, you go and take it. If you're Lamine Yamal, you go and take it. Whatever that is, bro. I'm not really bothered about age. He's not too young now. We've seen crazier ages people come and just you just go and take that spot. If that means he's not on the level of those players, then fair enough. And maybe we could see that. And there's a lack of options, someone else to play instead of him. But I would say, you know what, like you got your chance, and that's us pushing youth like we have done in the past, and that's paid off sometimes, and sometimes that hasn't paid off. Maybe right in this moment, it would be good if we had another option. Like you said, he's kind of the only one. But I don't think he's as young as we're saying now, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he is 20, what is he, 20 years old, 21? Around that age, I think he's 20 years old.
Yeah, but the amount of appearance makes him 3-4 years older than what he is. The amount of game time he's had.
And that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Like, it's good that he's had all that experience. It should be making him better. Do you know what I mean? It's all of that is only going to improve you. People might say the mental side of it is poorly managed. But you're a pro footballer, man. You're playing for Man United. You got to work on the mental side yourself, you know what I mean? In terms of experience and all that playing in high pressure games, that should be making him a better player, not a worse player.
Yeah, I personally feel like we haven't managed Garnacho's talent the best. And I think one of the reasons anyway is we're United, and I feel like because we're United, we have to manage our young players differently than other clubs. Because let's be honest, if you're a talented player playing for Crystal Palace, your whole mentality is, I need to prove myself to the other clubs. I need to prove myself why I should be able to play for Liverpool, a City, Arsenal, United. I need to, like, look at someone like Adam Wharton. Great player, great young player. I think he's like 19, 20 as well. Liam Delap as well, another great young player. For them, they're playing to prove themselves that they can go and play for another big club. They can go and play for, like I said, one of the other top 6 teams or maybe even abroad, one of the other big clubs abroad. And I feel like that mentality for them, when you're playing regular games, you have a different way of thinking. Whereas when you play for United, it's almost like you've made it. Like, I play for United already. You know, I play for the biggest club in the country, one of the big clubs in the world, and I'm a starter. What do I need to prove to other people when I'm doing this? And I know my place is already certified every single week. Maybe some young players, I'm not saying Garnacho does think this because I don't know what he thinks, but maybe some players kind of feel like, I've already made it now. Where else do I need to go to?
I actually think it's more to do with the pressure, to be honest, bro. Like, I think
pressure as well.
No wingers are having success at United, so I'm not going to pick out Garnacho and say that he's letting us down at anything like that. So I want to make that clear. Like, I'm not actually criticising a guy like Rashford can't do it at United, Anthony can't do it at United, like, and Elanga. You know, they're leaving and that pressure alleviates a little bit, and they're flourishing. So Garnacho is like, he's not going to be immune to that pressure. Of course, like you said, the age thing a few seasons ago. So yeah, I think a lot of it is just to do with that pressure, bro. Like playing, that's your shirt as a winger at United every single week. Obviously that's tough, but that's what I believe the new manager, the new owners, that is their job to settle that and sort of like improve. However that is done at a big club, improve the mentality side of things, innit? Because it's like, it's no secret all the players are doing better when they leave.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've got couple more super chats. Like I said, make sure you send in these super chats so we can discuss them. Super chat from Ahmed Al-Mamani. We've seen Dorgu and Dalot at the wing-back positions. I want to see Dorgu and Mazraoui play as our wing-backs. We can't do that now because of injuries. I mean, we was going to go through the defence, literally right after this. But I mean, let's just touch on that super chat there. Dorgu and Dalot, he prefers Dorgu and Mazraoui. What are your thoughts on that? Are you... do you feel, because in my opinion, in general, Mazraoui's had a better season than Dalot, in general. You know, wherever he has played, I feel like he's played better. Dalot has improved over the last few games, so you have to give him a bit of credit for that. But I feel like Mazraoui, as a new signing, to come to the Premier League, to come to this level and perform like this, I feel like you've got to give him a lot of credit. Would you... I don't think this is going to be a choice anyway, because I think they're both going to play regardless. But if you had the choice and you had to pick between Mazraoui or Dalot as that right wing back, who would you pick?
No question, Mazraoui. I think Dalot, you said, he's got better over the last couple of games, but Mazraoui is what you want in a signing. You want somebody to come in, no frills, play week in, week out, play every minute, no injuries. Man played all the way through Ramadan, halfway through, had his dates, had his water, and cracked on. That's what you want. That's
a warrior.
Do you know what I mean? No frills. Like, you've seen Amorim say the other week, I think it was international break, he's like, man's tired. He's tired. And you could sense, like, he was running on fumes. But that's it. Like, he turned up for us. So, and he understands that wing-back position. I don't think Dalot fully understands how to play that role. I feel like last year, he was our player of the season playing right back, and we've asked him to do a bit more, and he hasn't quite adjusted. And I feel... you know, where players are going to have to be sacrificed that have got some kind of value, for me in the summer, he's somebody that we should probably look at selling, because we can get money for him and we can bring somebody in that actually fits the system better. There's a lot of players leaving on free transfers. There's very few players that we can actually get some money for. Yeah. He's a player that's actually valued by a lot of managers out in Europe. And if we're going to have to make certain sacrifices on certain names, he's probably going to be someone that's going to move on that we can get some money in for.
Why do you reckon he's declined so much, though? Do you think it's because of the system and he doesn't fit it? Because I'm sure I noticed it before Amorim came, like he just wasn't having, or am I mistaken in that? I felt like this season, he just from the offset wasn't the player he was last season. And why do you reckon that is?
I just feel he's being asked to do more of it, asked to do more. And it's like, you talk to defenders, someone who plays right back. Wing back is different. It's the exact reason why. You look at someone like Ahmad. Ahmad's more attack minded. He can play wing back, but if you were to ask him to play right back, you're going to get a different level of performance out of him. So you're asking somebody to play different to what they're used to playing. He's not a bad right back, but he's just not a very good wing back. And I just feel like you said, there's certain players that are going to be casualties of the system. Last year, he was one of our players of the season. We were all singing, one of the first names on the team sheet, Delo was that guy. Don't get me wrong, he tries his heart out for us. You can see when he talks, he loves the club. He pops up with a goal every now and again. And I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I think we can get better in that position. And for me, Mazraoui, the way he's come in, played every single minute, cracked on, 7 out of 10 every week, just a signing that just goes unsung, and you need some unsung heroes in the team. Not everybody can be the superstar.
I think in that wing back position though, I've seen glimpses of the old Dalot recently. I think there was an energy shift, maybe after the international break, and I think I've seen something I like in him that maybe Mazraoui doesn't necessarily offer going forward in that wing back position. So I would still go with Dalot because I think Mazraoui's made that centre-back in that free, he's made that position his own. So I'd actually, given our centre-back options as well, I'd probably want that Mazraoui stability there. And, who are the other two centre-backs? We've obviously got Lenny's available. Heaven's available.
Be Maguire.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. But I agree. In terms, going back to your question about why you feel like Dalot has kind of regressed, and this isn't even me trying to just give him excuses because it's not the greatest reason, but I just feel like he is a victim of what a lot of United players have fallen victim of, is playing for a very bad team. I feel like we've seen it with Rashford. We've seen how Rashford have a great season, and literally the next season, a completely different player. We saw it with even like Ronaldo when he had a great season. Not great, well, he had a pretty good season actually. That first season, all of a sudden he's a problem. We've seen it with Bruno. Bruno started off amazing. Eventually, it kind of just dwindled down, and as the team got worse and worse and worse, you saw Bruno's performances not be as great. This season's kind of revived himself, but there's so many other players who you could probably say the same thing for, where at one point they were great, amazing for us, and eventually, because you're playing on a bad team, because you're playing with multiple different managers, and there's so much drama on and off the field and whatnot, you slowly just dwindle out, and your performances, you have a season like this, with Dalot, you're going to have a season where you're going to struggle, and when the criticism starts to come in and people are saying, we're good enough to play for United, and that all gets to these guys' heads, and it doesn't help, it doesn't help for these players. So it is an excuse, whether or not he uses that same excuse, I don't know, but I feel like he is just another victim or another player that's fallen short to playing for a bad team. And hopefully, like I said, he has actually got better recently in the past few games. I don't know if I'd sell him, just because if we do bring somebody else in and we sold him, who's the second right wing back? Are we going to have to play Ahmad there now as a second option? I'd still want Ahmad to kind of play a bit further forward. Mazraoui would then be the next player there. And again, like I said, he's nailed on to be a right centre-back in my opinion. So I would still keep him. Maybe he could be a bench player. He could rotate in and out of the team. I don't mind that. But yeah, I think he's a player for me who I'd still definitely keep. And as well, lastly on Dalot, I feel like he has a very, very good mentality, which not a lot of players have. He has that leadership mentality almost.
It's the high fives, bro.
Yeah.
It's the high fives. I would keep him just for the high fives.
Just for the high fives.
He loves that.
He loves the fans as well.
Yeah. He loves the club.
He loves the club.
He loves the club. Yeah.
And whenever we go to Carrot and stuff like that, he's always a one player.
Stops and talks.
Makes sure he speaks to the people, speaks to the media. I just like him as a person as well. That's why I want to keep him at the club.
I'm not saying that I would sell him.
Yeah.
I'm saying that given the club's financial position, like we're talking about, we got to sell to buy. When you actually break down the players that are leaving on free transfers, the players that have just signed contracts and can't be moved on, you've got that middle ground of players, and you look and go, right, out of these players, who can we actually get money for? I can see somebody like him being sacrificed. Like when you actually, honestly, I sat on the train on the way up here last week, and I was doing an article for someone, and I went through player by player. There's actually only about 5 or 6 players that we can actually sell and get money for. The other 5 are leaving for free. And then you've got another 6 or 7 that have just signed long-term contracts that ain't going anywhere. And when you look at them, Delot's probably one of the most desirable. It's very similar to the McTominay situation last year, where you look, the club didn't want to sell him, but given the options, you couldn't get Casemiro out and so on and so forth. You're gonna have to make a sacrifice. So I wouldn't sell him. I love him, and there's not many players that bleed for the club, and he is one of those.
100%. Now, got a couple of super chats. The first one, I read this before and I just laughed, from Conrad. He said, can't believe we've got Yoro, Cobby and Anderson on the panel. Anderson's crazy.
Disrespect is wild. Can we get admin to block whoever that was? It's absolute no manners.
Anderson. Good player though, Champions League winner. Super chat from Constantine. Garnacho has 15 goals in 88 appearances for United. So what do you lot see in him? I mean, I'll be honest, the numbers thing doesn't really, like, I'm not looking at Garnacho for numbers, I'll be honest. That's like saying, oh, how many goals did Ronaldo get in his first year?
It's a valid point, because, like, we should be at some point be looking at, like...
He shouldn't be a number that, in my opinion, he shouldn't be a player that we're looking at his goals and assists every single season to dictate how good of a player he is. He's not supposed to be that player. If he was like Rashford, fair enough. We have to be looking at the output that you're bringing into the team. If he was, I don't know, Bruno, another one of our talisman, we have to be looking at those kind of numbers. For me, Garnacho shouldn't be he should be in the stage where he's just getting better every single game. We shouldn't be expecting him to get a goal and assist every single game. So,
no, I see what you mean, actually, yeah. You're going back to the point of, like, you think that's coming a bit too early, where we're expecting him to produce the numbers now.
So he's putting in, like, crazy numbers.
Playing devil's advocate on that, then, why was there so much uproar when we were potentially going to sell him for 60 million?
I think there's multiple reasons. I think a lot of people were on the kind of mentality of he's still too young to write him off. As in, like, we didn't have another young player. I mean, how many offensive, like, young players do we have that are going to be here for the future? There's not that many that you could say, you know what, I mean, Højlund is 21 or 22, but I feel like a lot of people would say that Garnacho probably has more potential than Højlund. I feel like a lot of people looked at Garnacho and thought he is somebody that can get better, and we don't really want to just sell one of our young academy prospects just because we need the money. That, in my opinion, I don't like that anyway. Regardless of who it is, I don't like that mentality regardless. Just sell him because of PSR. That's not a great decision that I feel like we should have made. So I feel like that's probably one of the reasons. I don't know, people probably have their own reasons. I'm not too sure.
Would you have sold him? 60 million?
Now, looking back at it, 60 million is a good fee. 60 million is
I know what you want to say.
60 million is a good fee. We're not going to get 60 million now.
You wouldn't sell him for 60 million?
No, you know why? Because I think, like, I keep thinking about what you said before, which is, you know, the gaff, as in Old Trafford, as in this club, it's not this breeding ground for flourishing. It's not. And people are leaving and doing better. How heartbreaking would it be for the same to happen with Garnacho? Like, we sell him, and it would. So what I want to see first, right, is like this gaff being renovated. You know, obviously the new stadium's in 5 years. But I mean, from the soul, from within. You know what I mean? Come and steady as ship. Amorim, you work your magic. Ineos, they have fans and they have haters, but let's give it a bit more time to see their decisions off the pitch come into fruition, make an impact. And it's just all about the energy at the club, right? And once that, we become a team and a club where, like, players are coming in and getting better, because that's what we should be, and that's where we will get back to. I really believe that, because it's like, you know, biggest club in the world, so of course we're going to get these things right. Then I want to judge someone like Garnacho. You know what I mean? And maybe I'm, like, you know, one of the most positive United fans, but I just think you kept saying that about, you know, players doing better elsewhere and stuff like that, and maybe it's the club. And that's where I'm going to land, bro. I think, you know what? No, let's wait until everything around him is better.
So the team is out. I'm just trying to get it up. Let me see if I can find it. If someone could send it to me, or okay, cool. Sam C Reports has got the team. Let me see if I can try and find it. Quickly. All right, so...
I'm nervous, bro.
Well, this is the team I've got here. Sam, send me a confirmation if you're watching this. Send me a confirmation that this is the team. But, okay, yeah, I've got it. Okay, cool. So the starting 11 for Manchester United today is Onana in goal, as we already know. Yep. The back three is Euro, Maguire and Mazraoui. Pretty standard.
Yep.
The two wing backs is Dorgu and Dalot. Again, pretty standard. Two midfielders, Casemiro and Ugarte.
Yep.
Yeah.
Two tens, Garnacho and Bruno.
Yeah.
And the striker, Rasmus Højlund.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're going to give me the curveball.
Covey, me.
Twin, bro, imagine.
No, the striker is Rasmus Højlund. I'll read through that again if you didn't hear it. The goalkeeper is Onana. Back three is Euro, Maguire and Mazraoui. Two wing backs is Dorgu and Dalot. The two midfielders is Casemiro and Ugarte. The two tens is Garnacho and Bruno. And the striker is Højlund. Does anything stand out in that team?
I just think the Amorim roulette thing we've kind of now sussed, haven't we? Because I think that was the team we pretty much all thought you would go with. As much as we wanted to see, you know, a Mount pop up or, you know, whoever it is, it was never going to happen. I think, like we said last week, we beat them 2-0, bar two mistakes. That was the best version of themselves. And if we focus on ourselves today, we're good enough to beat this team. And I'll be honest with you, when you actually look, we were talking with Greg before we went live, and he read out the teams that are still left in this tournament. It reads like a pre-season Umbro Cup or like Night Cup or something. Like we
are going to talk about the other teams left in the tournament.
The calibre of teams in the tournament, like we should walk this now. So yeah, that starting 11 is what I expected.
Yeah, I mean, let us know in the chat, what do you think about that team? Anything stand out to you? In my opinion, nothing really strongly stands out, in my opinion. Maybe you could talk about the midfielders, Casemiro and Ugarte. What would you could have changed something there. We do have...
There she is.
Our... Beth is live. She is obviously at the game doing press. I mean, Beth, can you hear me?
Hi, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, if it's quiet, I mean, usually it's like bare loud because you're usually in the stadium, but you're in the back somewhere. Where are you?
I'm in where Ruben Amorim does his press conference.
Beth's doing a press conference, okay.
Yeah.
So,
I'll show you one sec.
Yeah, go on.
Spin it round. Actually, can I do that? I don't think I can do it. I don't know. It's like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's because outside the music is blasting.
Okay.
They've just got Rihanna on. They've got Onana's song on. I said they're trying to get him in the zone. Onana, what's your name?
Trying to get him to lock in. But anyway, Beth, I'm sorry you've seen the lineup. What do you think? What do you think about the lineup?
What other options do we have? Do you know what I mean? It's one of them where it's like that team. It's the same lineup as when we first went to Lyon, and I think we should have won that game. Onana made two very big mistakes. We should have won that game. So starting 11, it makes sense in that sense. Would I like to see Mainoo and Mount in it? Yes. But I don't think they're physically ready from injury. I don't think Mainoo's ready. He had a little bit of a setback. And Mount, I still don't think he wants to risk him from the start. So the rest of the bench is just youth. And then Lindelof and Eriksen, who we've seen their recent performances recently. So I think he couldn't really go with anything else. I'd like to see Mount and Mainoo in there, but I just don't think they're ready.
I mean, we had a long conversation about Onana. I know who you would have picked anyway, but in general, how are you feeling about Onana starting today? Amorim obviously said it in the press conference yesterday that he's going to play him. You know, even though there's so much criticism, he's still going to play him. What do you think about that?
I'm uncomfortable, but again, what options do you have? I said I would still go with Onana just because he's done it before. Like, he has played the FA Cup final and we've won it against the best team who had won the league that year in Man City. So he has performed for United. Like, I think he was in goal when we kept that clean sheet at Anfield under Ten Hag where it was 0-0. He's kept clean sheets. He's had good performances. He got save of the month a couple of times this season. He's just so inconsistent. So if he can actually get himself right, I trust him to have a decent performance. But the only thing is, he's got so many mistakes in him. You are uncomfortable, and I think if I'm as a United fan, any time they take a shot on our goal, I will be nervous. Any set pieces on the edge of the box, even from corners, I will be nervous. If that's how I'm feeling, the players will feel the exact same. That's what makes me feel uncomfortable. But Bayern had his opportunity against Newcastle, and he kind of blew it. So it's what else do you do?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm still kind of 50-50 anyway. I would sort of kind of wanted to go with Bayern, but I've said before, I think they're the same player. I think there's not really much difference, or I can't give you as much confidence to say Bayern is not going to make any mistakes. He's going to do everything perfectly. None of us can really say that about Bayern. So Amorim's probably thinking, you know what, the safe bet is just to go with Onana.
No, I feel confident now after listening to you, Beth, because you said Onana won us the FA Cup last season. He's done it, and I never even thought about that. I'm liking today's positive FC. I actually am. I've got a feeling it's a good feeling, because you're right. I was doubting Onana before this. He wasn't in my ideal starting 11 because I felt like I'd seen enough. However, we won the FA Cup against debatably the best team that season, and Onana was our keeper. He can do it.
Yeah, Jordan, you going to say something?
No, I'm going to say I don't agree with you, Beth, whatsoever.
No, I'm not saying do not get me wrong. If I could pick someone from another team, I would. But what options do you have? What options do you have? And I get it. You can talk about before the game. Oh, I'm uncomfortable with Onana in goal. I think we all are, because we all do fear for it. But the other option is play Bayern, who will be nervous as anything, and has just made a mistake against Newcastle, or play Tom Heaton, which he was never going to do. And now Onana is in goal, do I want him to be our keeper next season? No, I don't. If I had an opportunity to get a new keeper in, I would. But this is what we've got. We've got to get behind him. We've got to back him, because he could be the difference between us winning the Europa League or not. And if everyone's on his back, he's more likely to make a mistake in the stadium, and that's more likely going to cost us. So whether or not we're happy with Onana, which I'd say the majority of people aren't, me included, you've got to get behind him, because he's the one that's going to be playing. Yeah,
well, we said that in the build-up, that once he's picked, and I think Amorim saying yesterday that he was going to start, from that moment, we've got to back him. However, where I'm at with it, if he makes another mistake and he costs us Champions League football again, like he did last year, it's now on the manager. We've seen enough of him. Yeah, we can talk about the FA Cup final.
Would you be confident with Bayern, though?
The defenders would be more confident with Bayern in goal.
Do you reckon he would be more confident with Bayern?
Yeah. Watching that game last week, Harry Maguire went to pass the ball to him, to Onana, and changed his mind. He does not fill that back three with any form of confidence.
I do get that point, but Ruben Amorim and his goalkeeper coach in training have made that decision to stick with him.
Yeah.
And you've just kind of got to trust him, haven't you? But the thing is, it's like I said, my only argument is Onana has done it before in big games. Has Bayern Day?
Do you know what it is, Bev? I'm going to be honest. You know, I love you to death, but your view on goalkeeping stands no ground, because you pushed David De Gea out of this club. So
honestly, I'm so
push the narrative. Keep pushing the narrative.
I love winding it up. Look at her. I'm going to break up. Look.
It's actually boring.
Keep pushing the narrative. Yeah, it's all bad.
Honestly, it's so boring. Do you know what? Pep Guardiola should have kept Joe Hart as well.
I just wanted to get a nibble out of you. I've had it now. I'm happy to move on.
Free Tom Heaton, bro. Free Tom Heaton is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, there was a poll that we ran earlier, and the poll was, if you had the option, I know obviously Onana is starting, but if you had the option, who would you start? Onana was 40%, Bayern was 33%, and Tom Heaton was 25%.
Oh, right.
So Onana did win, to be fair.
He did win. He did win the poll.
Yeah, that was that performance at Newcastle, wasn't it? I think that has swung it.
Swung a lot.
Do you think, Beth, if he'd come in...
that performance was that bad. I just think it was the final goal where he kicked it to him.
Yeah, it's that mistake. And then, unfortunately, that shows he's got a mistake in him too.
But Beth,
who else
do you honestly believe the decision was made that Onana was going to start this game, however Bayern Day performed against Newcastle?
I think the only way Bayern Day was going to start this game was if he had an absolute blinder against Newcastle, which he didn't. I think that's the only way. I think Amorim's in a situation, this is what I think he's in a situation where he wants a new keeper, but he's got to deal with what he's got. We have this debate, who's going to start Bayern Day or Onana? The chat can't decide. We can't decide. It's always a debate.
Yeah.
So I think Amorim's probably in that situation himself, but he's got to go with something until the end of the season. And I think his way of dealing with it was, we've got to take Onana out the firing line. And and hope he doesn't make any mistakes in the next game. I think the reason he didn't play against Newcastle, and I saw Matt speaking about this morning, was because if he made another mistake at Newcastle, it would really put him in a bad way coming into today's game. And he obviously sees Binder week in, week out. And, Ten Hag saw Binder week in, week out. What you can say about Ten Hag's judgment, I don't know, because he didn't play Ahmad, so that's kind of that kind of skews you there. But Binder hasn't really gotten that much game time, and to not get game time over Andre Onana. I mean, anyone would. I'm really surprised he didn't get a run out. Honestly, I know he got injured when he was maybe about to get a run out after he had that really good game against Arsenal, but I mean, to not get a run out when Onana's your competition, I'm not sure. I mean, I speak to people who I know quite well over in Turkey, and they say Binder's a good keeper, but I don't know. We've not seen enough of him, have we?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, touching on the rest of the team, is there any change that you would have made on that team? Obviously, the midfield, I feel like the defence is kind of obvious, but I think the only other real conversations is the midfield. We don't have a striker, so it's going to be Højlund. Which players would you have changed if you obviously had the choice?
If I knew that Mount wouldn't get injured and he was going to stay fit, I would have put Mount in the starting 11. That's what I would have done. However, I also think Amorim would have done that as well. I think it's purely down to fitness, so probably not. A lot of people have said that, about Garnacho, and I know I've been hard on Garnacho in the past, but I actually would have started him in this game. I think this is a game that suits him at Old Trafford, and we've not really got anybody else. Højlund is one that is really difficult. I was speaking to someone about this on the way to the game, and I was saying, Højlund has been labelled as a massive flop by opposition fans and even United fans now, and he's not the player that we saw last season. And even last season he needed to improve. It seems like he's gone backwards. He's super low on confidence. But what I was saying is football it's very, memories are very, very short. If he goes and scores the winning goal today, all of a sudden everyone's like, Højlund straight away. If I'm speaking to Højlund before this game, I'm saying, look, everyone's saying, what we're going to do for goals now that Xerxes out. Everyone's counting you out. Everyone's saying, you're basically useless. Go out there and show why you're not. And it's a really big opportunity for him. If Xerxes was available, of course he'd be starting up front for me, but he's not. I'm not with this, start Kobe there, start Bruno there. I think you've got to start a striker up front for now, and he is the striker. So I would start him, but the only one I'd probably change is I'd bring Mount in.
Bring Mount in.
But then actually now I'm thinking about it.
For who?
If I'm saying I'd start Garnacho, then I'd probably drop Bruno a little bit deeper, and I'd move either Casemiro or Ugarte out. Probably Casemiro out.
Probably Cassie, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Beth, let's get your score predictions in, and let's get a player to watch as well.
Player to watch is, I say it every time, but I'm hoping Højlund's going to do something for his own sake. I want him to do well, and I want him to get his confidence up. So I hope Højlund does something. He's my player to watch. I think this is the time now where he's really got to show. I think he's got to show Amorim why he still should be here next season. I think he could be on the chopping block in the summer for leaving the club because Xerxes is going to stay. Yeah. So I think he's got to show the fans and the manager something tonight, and it's a massive opportunity, biggest game of the season. So Højlund for me, and Nana obviously is a big one because so much pressure on him to make up for his mistakes in Lyon. And my score prediction is 3-2 to United. 2-2 going into full time, 3-2 in extra time. I think goal scorers, I think Dallow's going to score tonight. I don't know why. I've got a weird feeling. And I'm going to go with Højlund and Bruno.
Okay. Dallo, Højlund,
Garnacho and Bruno.
Okay,
Maybe.
cool. So 3-2. Dallo potentially getting a goal. We'll see. That happens. That's fair enough. You called it. And Højlund to watch, right?
I think Manu and Mount will make a big impact off the bench.
Yeah.
Big impact.
Yeah.
They looked really good when they came on against Lyon in the first leg, but obviously just weren't enough time to get it over the line, and Anna kind of cost us in that as well.
Yeah, true. But anyway, Beth, thank you for calling in.
Thank you, guys.
Enjoy the game. Obviously, hopefully you get to speak to some of the players after the game.
Hopefully we're celebrating a win, Hopefully I'm coming back into the forum and the vibes are high, because I actually can't even fathom how I'm going to feel if we don't get through. I'm just automatically starting to think, like, we are going to get through this.
It's done.
I was outside before and I was looking at flights to potentially go to Spain next week. I'm assuming Athletic Club are going to beat Rangers. But I was like, do you know what? Why am I even looking at this? Because United are United, aren't they? But hopefully, do you all believe we're going to win again?
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. There's something in the air today, man.
Every single person I spoke to said United win. So hopefully, we're all on the same page. Who's just walked past the camera?
It's your brother.
Is it? What's he doing? Right, okay, I'll leave you to it, but...
Anyway, yeah, thanks for calling in. We'll see you after the game.
Yeah, see you later.
See you later, Beth.
Bye.
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
But look, we've got a whole bunch of super chats I need to read out. I'm going to go through all of these now. Let me just get them up because loads of them came through before. So super chat from, let me see, what was the last one that I didn't read out? There's a super chat here from, Ryan, I'm going to call him Ryan. Ron7, or Ronaldo and Rooney, who are legends, and around 18 were surrounded by top class players. Garnacho, Kobe, and all are surrounded by last 10 years. I don't know what the point. I think he's trying to make that.
The quality of players. You were
Yeah.
saying that earlier, wasn't you? Like, it's hard for these players to really deliver in this current team.
Yeah, I agree with that comment. I know what you're trying to say. I'll translate. But 100%. You're right. And when you actually give the example of the previous players, it makes even more sense. You know what I mean? Let's judge them when we've got that calibre of player.
On that point as well, I feel like the whole pressure just from the whole class of '92 thing, that as soon as any young player shows any glimpse of hope or promise, we're like, it's the next Beckham, it's the next Scholes. Do you know what I mean? Like instantly, we just naturally, because it's in our veins, we're like, it's the next one, and we're brought up on youth in United. So like you said about Elanga and players like that, these players don't get given the time or opportunity to grow and to flourish, and you see them go into other clubs, the pressure is straight away off their shoulders. They're not in the limelight as much, and they get an opportunity to grow. And like you said, we're seeing now with even some of the more senior players and the bigger name players, like your Antonys, your Rashfords and whatnot. There's very few clubs in the world that apply the level of pressure that United. And you look, watch Onana now. If we sign a new goalkeeper in the summer, Onana will go somewhere else, and people will look at him and go, "Do you know what?
Player.
He's a hell of a player." The shirt is too heavy for a lot of players.
The heaviest shirt, bro, in the world, because of how far we've fallen off. It's heavier than the other big clubs, Madrid and Barca, because every time we sign someone, it's like, you've got to be that player, and this team has to be that team which turns Manchester United around. And we've gone lower than them other two clubs. So it's the heaviest shirt, but we've got the manager for that job.
Do you know what? That's a really, really good point. The shirt is the heaviest because of how far we've dropped off.
It is the heaviest.
That's a great point.
I think the main problem with that is the fact that we have this heavy shirt, and like you said in it, the expectation for what this heavy shirt actually should provide isn't exactly where we're at. You know, I know, like you said, the other heavy shirts, the Barca's, the Bayerns, the Real Madrids, their expectations this season is to go and win everything. That's their expectations because of how heavy their shirt is. So they can have a young player like Arda Güler, have a young player like Endrick, all these kind of young players come through their team. And you know what? If you don't actually play that well, or you don't get a lot of minutes or whatever, it's fine. We're Real Madrid. You know, we're battling for, I know they just went out last night, but we're battling for every competition. You know what I mean? So whereas United, it's like, you have to have the pressure of a Real Madrid and a Barcelona, but you realistically expectations is to be 15th because you're playing for a 15th place team. It doesn't add up, you know what I mean? It's not balanced, which is why a lot of people feel. I mean, yesterday when I was at Carrington, I saw on the wall, they've got like the Jimmy Murphy Award, and the most recent player is Ethan Wheatley. So his picture's like in the middle of the wall thing in it. It's like a little, I'm gonna say memorial, not a memorial. It's like a thing in it on the wall. It says Jimmy Murphy Award. It's got Ethan Wheatley, and I was looking at all the names of the different players, and I was thinking, you know what? I understand why the pressure of a young player is so high, because some of the recent winners our Garnacho has won it before, Kobe Mainoo has won it before, Rashford's won it before, Danny Welbeck's won it before. But when you look back, you see Scholes has won it, Ryan Giggs has wone it, Wes Brown has won it. Yeah. A lot of players who ended up becoming great players for us have been, winners of this award. So a player like Garnacho, who's also won it, probably thinking, I'm in big company. I'm in the same. I've won the same award that some of these legends have won. My trajectory should be on the same as theirs. Yeah. It's going to be very difficult for him to get to that point where Ryan Giggs was playing for the best manager in the world, in the best stadium, with the best players around him, the best system, the best coaches. It's more likely that he was going to do well than someone like Garnacho would do well at this club. So I can understand why it's very difficult for young players. But anyway, going back to some of these super chats, somebody said, let me find the name, Tavir Hargavan said, I think Dalot has shown some improvement recently. Yep. I agree. Yep. Another super chat from Ian Bystar, Jordan looking fresh, come on United. I think it's a fresh trim, man. It's a fresh trim. Come on. Super chat from Wolfie35p, wherever United getting the goals, Bruno maybe, who else? I think Bruno's going to score. Regardless.
Bro, I think Beth's right. It's a Højlund redemption arc.
Yeah.
This is his last chance in life, you could say.
Bro, you're only 22.
This is his last. No, I don't know. I'm going into like full-on motivational talk mode, bro. Yeah. If I'm Højlund, that's what I'm thinking. When I was doing like my repeat year at uni, and I was in my assignment, I'd look in the mirror and be like, I'll be like, bro, this is my last chance at life. If I flop this repeat year, it's no do-overs, bro. It's done. Yeah. So if I'm Højlund, I'm looking like, if I want to salvage my career at United, like the biggest opportunity you're going to get, like young, you come to United, big money signing. This is a game, bro. Yeah. This is a game. Yeah. As was written.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Super chat from Class of 99. Garner and Rasmus together. A disaster word from free. Let's get behind our players, man. On. I mean, let's try. We want them to win. We want them to play well. So, super chat from Mrs. Stone. Let's go United. Love the positivity.
Let's go.
Another super chat from Mrs. Stone. Can we talk about that shite bench? I don't know who's actually on the bench.
The bench ain't even bad, bro.
Let me get the bench.
We've got Money Mace.
Yeah, Mount, Mainoo.
Let me get the bench up. Hold on a second. So on the bench for Manchester United is... Okay, so Binder, Heaton, Kukonki, Amas, Camerson, Shaw, Lindelof, Eriksson, Morehouse, Mainoo and Mount. That is a big
Is Heaven on the bench?
No. Heaven's on the bench. So going through it again, Binder, Heaton, Kukonki, Amas, Camerson, Shaw, Lindelof, Eriksson, Morehouse, Mainoo and Mount. I mean, the players that I feel like are most likely going to come on, Mainoo, Mount, very likely to come on. Potentially, defensively, we might bring on like a Shaw or Lindelof.
Lindelof probably, when he started on
Lindelof, potentially will come on. There's a lot of, obviously, quite a few young players in there. Kukonki, Amas, Camerson, Morehouse. Probably won't get that many minutes. Unless we're like 4-0, 5-0 up, they might come on and get some minutes. Yeah. And then obviously Eriksson's in the team. Maybe a bit of reassurance in the midfield. He could do something. So I think it's an all right bench, to be fair. We've got some players to bring on.
We've had a lot worse benches this season.
We've had worse.
A lot worse.
I'd take Kobe and Money Mace coming off the bench. I'd take that.
Yeah. You know what's happening with Shaw? He's not playing any minutes, is he? Since he's come back.
Bro.
I think it's just a bit more difficult in terms of, I don't personally feel like he's going to play left wing back. I don't think he's going to play there. I think
left centre back.
I think if anything, he's going to play left centre back. Yeah. I'm looking at the players there. Really, truly, it's Yoro. I don't know. I like Yoro.
Who's he starting on?
I like Yoro. And you want to tell me right now, am I going to drop Yoro for Luke Shaw? Answer is no. Realistically, the answer is no for me. I think that Yoro has... Yes, Luke Shaw is still Luke Shaw. I think at his best, he is probably still... he is still better than Yoro. But I feel like what Yoro has provided to this team, even though he is young, he still provides confidence. He still provides some sense of like a strong mentality in terms of how he plays.
I was saying on last week's show that a lot of what Yoro has brought to the team has gone unnoticed. I think he's been a really, really good signing. Yeah, he's still learning. Yeah, there's been a couple of mistakes. But in general, I think he's been a great addition to the team and he's got a massive, massive future. Yeah. And what he does is bring the best out of Harry Maguire. So his strengths are Harry Maguire's weaknesses. So a lot of the time when that ball goes over the top, and Harry would in a 2 have struggled to get back, Euro just mops it up, and it just goes unnoticed. He picks the ball up, and he's adding more in an attacking sense. You see that he's confident enough now to go forward because he knows he can get back, and that was something that Martinez was doing when he was popping up with an assist or a shot on the edge of the box or whatnot. So yeah, no, I think Euro's been a great signing.
Yeah, I agree. You also agree?
Completely agree.
You have to kind of
agree. I think I do. But no, I'm not dropping Euro for Luke Shaw at the end of the day. Like Luke Shaw, yeah, it could still be a player there, but you've got to come back and you've got to earn it. I think it was a nice statement from Amorim to actually play Amas or even over Shaw in the last game, because it's like, you know what, Amas has just been there, showing up, obviously impressing in training, being on the bench time and time again, and he got his opportunity. I don't think Shaw can just come back and get his start.
Yeah, 100%. A couple more super chats in here. I might have actually missed 1 or 2. Hopefully, producer, you can show me which ones I've missed. But super chat from United Nick. The Trafford bar is rocking. Away to the game soon. Come on, United. Last one from Mrs. Stone. Happy to see young Rude on the show. I think you're young Rude.
Me?
Yeah, young Rude. I've not thought about that,
I've had many lookalike shouts. I have had Rude before, to be fair, but not often. Yeah. So thanks to Mr. Stone.
It's the scarf as well. When he started, he had his scarf.
What, a 50-50 scarf?
No.
I doubt he had.
There's no 50.
He's not as tragic as me, apparently.
I mean, look, let's actually talk a bit about the game in general. What do you feel like Amorim has to do today to kind of get us over the line? Do you feel like he should take more of an offensive approach in terms of let's actually go at them from the front foot, or do you feel like he should just play to not concede, if that makes sense? Because of the not liabilities, but the lack of players that we have going forward, should he kind of say, you know what, we're actually going to play more offensive football, or do you feel like he kind of should say, you know what, if we don't concede, technically we draw and we go to penalties? So should he take that more of an approach or a different way?
I feel like he's gone with that starting 11 based on last week and seeing their strengths and their limitations. Like what we keep saying, we won that game 2-0. Bar 2 mistakes. At home, we can be more confident. We can play a higher line. You got your fullbacks pushing forward to add to the attack. Bruno, he can make something happen. Garnacho, you're looking for him to turn up and make the right decision. Højlund needs to pull something out of his arse. Finally, like, we can win this game with the players that we've got on the pitch. With the fans behind us. I've seen enough last week to be like, do you know what? I'm confident we'll beat these at home. And I've come on here so many times, I've been Mr. Negative. But I'm telling you, we've got enough in this team to beat Lyon today.
Well, if you're usually Mr. Negative and today all I've heard, bro, is pure positivity, then I've got a feeling it's going to happen today, bro. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason for that. And that's because the main point I like of yours is that, we technically won 2-0 bar 2 keeper mistakes. So, yeah, in terms of like how we should play, bro, Amorim, innit? Like, just do the same thing, whatever that was, you know what I mean? Just do the same thing, copy and paste, sweet, stay calm.
I actually want to talk a little bit about Amorim now as well. I know it's obviously a big game for him, and I feel like sometimes he tries to downplay it a little bit just because he knows this doesn't save his season. He has the opposite mentality of Ten Hag. Ten Hag kind of thought, if I win this, I've saved the season. Everything's great. Amorim kind of thinking, nah, like, this is a great thing, and it's probably going to help him next season in terms of like money and stuff like that. But he knows, no, we've got a lot of work to do. So he kind of doesn't want to big it up to. I've never really heard him speak very, very highly of the Europa League and make it seem like it's the biggest thing in the world. He kind of has the mentality of, we need to focus on other things. If we focus on other things and we perfect other things, the Europa League will come with it anyway. You know what I mean? The trophies will come with it regardless. Do you feel like Amorim is feeling the pressure though? Even though he's not speaking about it, do you feel like he knows that, you know what, he might not say it out loud, but in behind closed doors, this might be my last big game of the season or my last game where I can kind of revive something of the season? Yeah.
I think he's pretty level-headed. Like, like what he says after every game, after every bad result. Like, he's very calm. And to be honest, that's my favourite part of them games. Is just listening to him speak, and then I feel all right again. I don't believe that he's presenting a different Amorim to what he's actually feeling inside. I think with him, what you see is what you get. And I believe his words of like, I go game by game. That's called living in the present moment, and high level sport, high level anything, to be honest. Like, that is how you need to be. You can't be projecting too far in the future, and if this doesn't happen the way we want it to happen, is my job on the line? Is that on the line? Are we going to fall that? As a fan as well, I think we should actually take Amorim's approach to like game management in terms of the mental side. Me as a fan, just living in this next game, like Amorim says, that is where I found my most joy as a football fan. Otherwise, I'm overthinking and I'm panicking a lot. I think he genuinely feels that way. And yeah, like, you know, it's not too much riding on this, and I like that. You don't want to, even for me as well, like, because of what he says, I've not put too much pressure on this game. Like, of course, like, it would be magical to go and win this tournament. Yeah. Like, it would change a lot. But I truly believe in the long-term vision, and if this one's not meant to be, then we will still get there. In whatever way we do, we will still get there.
Yeah, I think he knows behind the scenes how important it is not to win the trophy, but to get the Champions League football and the finances that come with it. I think the reports come out today that it's worth anything up to 90 million for the club if we win the Europa League. That is wild, you know. So he's very much aware, and I think when he turns around and says, you know, winning it is not going to change anything. It's not going to change anything. He knows that this squad is broken. He's aware that it's part of a process and he needs to bring certain players in. Where in the past with Ten Hag we've won trophies and it's kind of disguised what the problems are with that squad, and we've kind of gone, yeah, but we've won a trophy. Okay, well, next year we'll win another trophy. He's openly saying, look, it doesn't matter if we blag this tournament and we win it. There's a massive rebuild project ahead, so it's not really going to change anything. But him coming out and deflecting the pressure away from the players, when he was asked the question, I think it was in the last round, where he's like, how important is it to win the Europa League? And he sort of just went, you know, it's not going to change anything, you know, and people were like, why is he saying that? Why is he saying that? What, you know, he couldn't really say anything else.
Yeah. Deflecting the pressure, you're right.
Taking the pressure off the players. You look at someone like Onana, he does not do well under pressure. Clearly, he does not do well under pressure. So the best thing that manager could do, that is great man management, is to just deflect it. And you see the way the press are now going for him. I don't know if you've seen the question in the yesterday, I think it was, where they were going into, do you need a new goalkeeper? Do you need a new goalkeeper? Yeah. And he's like, I'll answer the question the way I want to answer the question. Yeah. He's learning to handle this UK media, which is so different to what he experienced out in Portugal. And he is growing with the role. But he's a perfectionist, and he knows that even if he wins this trophy, he's not winning it in the way that he wants to win it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've got a couple of super chats. I'm going to carry on the conversation shortly after this. But a couple of super chats here from Ross Stephen 13. I'm really worried and excited about tonight. Will be a good game. Fingers crossed for a decent game and a win. Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully we can get a win. Another super chat from Jody_football is life. Garnacho missing cities in front of goal doesn't matter either. I didn't know wingers were omitted from stats. I don't think it's that he's omitted from stats. I think it's just more a case of we're not.
You're saying he's not ready, innit?
Yeah, like Garnacho.
Oh, right, okay.
Garnacho, yeah. And another super chat from Regan. Let's go United, we need it, 100%. And super chat from Jody, you missed my super. Oh, sorry, I just read it. Sorry, I just read it then. But going back on to Amorim, in terms of the future after this game, now for the league, in my opinion, it's kind of done. I mean, we don't really have that many games left. Really and truly, we're kind of fighting for a 10th place finish or maybe a 9th place finish. I know, yes, you do get a little bit more money the higher up the table you finish. But for the league, it is kind of a bit of a, it's almost like it's a throwaway almost. Most of the games, if we win this game and we go through, every single game is just leading up to the next Europa League game. You know, in my opinion, all the players are going to be thinking and the fans are going to be thinking is, whatever happens today is in preparation for that semi-final. I mean, I want to ask you guys, in terms of the league, is there much more that you're looking forward to? Is there much more that you feel like, you know what, there's a lot to play for? We should actually be playing our best team in the league. Like how other teams are doing, we should be playing our best teams in the league. Or do you kind of feel like, you know what, when the Europa League semi-final games do come up, we should be saving our best players to play in those kind of games instead of playing in the Premier League games?
The league's done, bro. The league's been done. Like, you know, when we get through today and when we have them big European ties, of course, let's save them, bro. Let's save the legs. You know, we've not had the best injury luck. I don't want to be chancing people, bro. I don't want Xerxes pulling up with a hamstring. I don't want that happening to anyone else. Yeah. So yeah, 100%, bro. Like, unfortunately, the league's done. So yeah, that would answer that question.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan, do you kind of feel the same, or do you feel like there's still something to play for in the league?
Pride. That's it. Pride.
Get the fans behind you.
Yeah, that's it.
Pride, really.
Pride. And look, we need Champions League football. For Amorim to go and get his first or second choice targets this summer, we need to be able to dangle that carrot of European football, any form of European football. Where we are in the league, like, there's no other option. This is the only route. And you can kind of sense that from the players. I feel like we're unbeaten in Europe. You know, some of our players' best performances have been in Europe. It seems like even pre-Christmas, like, a lot of these players were like, hang about, we got to show up in Europe because the league was already done. And that's why some of our better performances have been there. And you also got to look at the calibre of opposition in this tournament is absolutely dog. Like, we should be winning it. Yeah. We should be winning it. So, yeah, I think the league is the league. You want players to stay fit. You want players to try. But again, we are the king of picking up injuries. If we need to wrap players up now going into the semi-finals and the finals, I'm taking out all day.
100% agree.
Yeah, and lastly, I want to talk about next season. You know, you mentioned earlier, I don't know if you still got it, but the players that we could, you know, potentially that could leave, or players that could go for free that we could sell. But I mean, I want to kind of speak a little bit on how the team could look for next season, especially if we do win the Europa League, what the big differences could be. I mean, we know that the players that are on loan are most likely not going to be here next season. Rashford, Anthony, Sancho. Even though, Rashford had a great game in Champions League the other day, I highly doubt he's going to come back to United and come play for us. In your opinion, what do you feel like United looks like at the start of next season? If everything goes right, what does Manchester United look like next season?
Well, I think the other thing is you got Eriksen out of contract, Tom Heaton out of contract, Johnny Evans out of contract. Yeah. You're actually looking at about 8 or 9 players that are just gone. Yeah. So, you know, for us to sit here and be like, and those players are potentially going, and there's not a lot of money coming back in. Like, that's the importance of winning this tournament. That 90 million.
Go a long way. That's a lot of money.
That's wild. It'd be interesting to know. I don't understand. I'm not 100% sure how it actually works with the whole financial fair play. 90 million coming in that manner. How much we can then go and spend? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that 90 million sort of worth? Like, we can then go and spend 200 million. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how that works. Somebody in the comments might be able to say, but. Yeah, when you actually look, like you said, I think there's about 8 or 9 players that will leave this summer. Yeah. It's a really, really big rebuilding job. And something I was thinking about, and I don't know what your guys' opinion on this is that we kept saying about Amorim coming in and having such a unique playing style that squad didn't fit. Yeah. But I don't know if I'm giving like Ineos too much credit here by saying this, but did they look at it and think, actually, there's 7, 8 players leaving anyway. We're going to have to completely galvanise this squad anyway. So if we do bring a manager in that has such a unique playing style, now's the time to do it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, what are your opinions on that as well?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, man. Let's give the credit to Ineos, you know what I mean? Keep the positivity up. Yeah, they're smart, man. They made that right decision. Maybe. You're right, though. And yeah, now would be the time to do it. But I didn't know there was that many players because, like, will we even have the resources to like replace that many players? Like that sounds like a lot, bro. Because like more or less, like to have a deep squad, like most of them will have to be replaced. But I think like we've made some smart purchases, like just plucking heaven off Arsenal, like things like that. I love, bro. So you know, I wouldn't mind just a few more signings like that. But you're right, like the squad will be looking completely different next season.
And that's without, if we go and replace Onana, if we can get Casemiro out the door, if we need to replace Højlund, when you actually deep it and write it down and look at it, it's wild how different the team could be come June.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
I mean, when you look at what Ten Hag did, I mean, a lot of people kind of had that whole mentality early on when Ten Hag came was, is he going to get his players? I think Ten Hag brought in like 20 players or something like that. He brought in he spent over 600 million, maybe even close to 700 million on players. He spent a lot of money. Yeah, I mean, considering you have to understand, he brought in Højlund for 72, Anthony for 90. That's already 160 there. You know,
salty, innit, when you say it like that.
Yeah. So he did spend a lot of money, and obviously a lot of the players that he did bring in were either Ajax players or Dutch players. So they were his signings. They were players that he wanted, and that team was a Ten Hag team. You know, he had the ability to kind of build a team that he wanted, plus keeping some of the players that he already liked, like a Dalot, like a Rashford, etc. And obviously it didn't work out for him. In my opinion, Ineos kind of have to give that same energy to Amorim. Let him bring in at least 10 players that he wants before we look at him and say, he's not done a good job, or this is it, or this is where we start to look at new managers. We have to give the same ability that Ten Hag had to go and spend all that money. Amorim's got to have that same kind of choice, or that same ability to do the same thing. But yeah, I mean, we've only got about 5 minutes after the show. Let's talk about our players to watch. 1 or 2 players.
And score predictions?
We'll do score predictions right at the end. Let's do players to watch first. Okay. I mean, you can start. I mean, what players are you watching today?
I'm going to go Onana. I think his back's against the wall. The manager's come out and backed him, which again could be an absolute masterstroke man management. If he comes in as an absolute blinder today, you'll turn around and say that it was great man management. Is he a big enough character to bounce back with all the adversity that he's had? And can he show up against a team that are really going to go out and target him again?
Well, that's pretty mad, because he's gone from never wear a United top again to one to watch. And that's the impact of positivity, lads. Yeah, that's the impact. Yeah. But I like that, bro. I like that. And I'm going to say another one, same as Beth. Rasmus Højlund. It's the redemption arc today. It's your last chance at life, like I said before. That's like the headline. And you've got to go and grab it. And I believe he's got it in him. And I believe that Onana has it in him as well. And I've just got a feeling about today, and Old Trafford, the energy, the fans, it's going to bring the best out of them, and we're going to do it. Yeah,
I mean, for me, aside from those 2 players, my player to watch is, for a different reason, but Bruno. He is our biggest player. He is the guy who really and truly, if we need someone to do something, he is going to do it. He has done it multiple times, not just this season, but since he's been here. He's been our go-to man, even though we've had other players that might have had more goals and stuff like that throughout these last 5 years. Bruno's kind of always been that main player to be there when we've actually needed him to pull out a goal or a big assist and to get us over the line. So to me, Bruno Fernandes, not to say I'm watching him for any pressure reasons, but he is the guy. He is he is Manchester United. He is big game player. So for me, Bruno Fernandes is a player that I'm gonna watch. I mean, I've got a couple of super chats here. Last few super chats. Basically sending in any last things, any last topics you want to discuss, and I'm gonna read them out. Super chat from Jack Deegan. Going to the Wolves game on Sunday, so I'm hoping for a win tonight so that the Wolves game will have some sort of buzz. Yeah, because that game could be very, very flat if we were to leave today.
It'll be vibes, bro.
Yeah. To be fair, is that game away? That Wolves game away?
No, it's at home.
Is that at home?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. I was going to say, our away fans are crazy anyway. Our away fans always got good energy. Super chat from I see dead bodies. Okay. He says, but you still need match fitness. Plus, we don't have the numbers to rotate that much. But I agree, we should rotate as much as possible. Yeah, I think we always need to rotate anyway. If we want to do well in different competitions, we're gonna need to rotate. Now, lastly, score predictions. What are we thinking? How do you think the game's gonna go? It could go penalties.
I think it's going to be 1-1 in 90 minutes, and I think Højlund's going to get that goal and whoever for them, and then I think we're going to get the winner in extra time, and it'll be Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno, big winner.
Okay,
I like that.
I'm going to go United 2-1. I think Højlund and Bruno with goals, but I do feel we will concede.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2-1 in 90 minutes. In 90, yeah. I don't want extra time. I don't want penalties. I just want to absolutely. I'll take a smash and grab. I'll take whatever. Let's just beat them. I want our season to carry on.
Yeah.
100%.
Did you say Højlund as well for the goal?
Højlund and Bruno.
Yeah, Højlund and Bruno.
Come on, I mean, you've said it here now, Højlund and Bruno to get the goals. I predicted, I've changed my prediction like 3 times now, but I'm going to go with 3-1. I just feel like, I agree, I think we're still going to concede. We do concede a lot.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's from a mistake or they just get a goal, I don't know, but we are still going to concede, but I feel like we are going to come back. We're going to come back and we're going to make it, I think we're going to make it 2-1 for the longest period of the game, and it's going to be super like back and forth, and there's going to be loads of chances. But I think the same way how I remember last night when Martinelli got that last minute goal and they kind of just ended the game for Real Madrid, but Arsenal, that's what's going to happen. Someone, I don't know who it is, maybe Garnacho, maybe Højlund, whoever it is, but we're going to get that last goal and it's just going to kill off the tie and completely end it. So I'm going to go with a 3-1. Let me know, in fact, in the chat, what are your predictions? What are your score predictions? I'm pretty sure I've gone through all the super chats, but let me know your score predictions for today. I mean, the energy in general is already bubbling. On the way here, you can kind of feel, you can feel something. You
in
feel
here,
something
bro.
in the ground.
In here, you can feel it.
Yeah.
I've got one final question for you before we go.
Yeah.
If it goes to penalties, do you make a goalkeeper substitution and bring Bayern Deal?
Never.
No?
I remember Van Gaal did that one time in like was it the World Cup or something?
In the Euros or something.
It was the Euros.
Yeah.
And it worked, but
Amorim ain't doing
I get scared. I get scared when people do, because you actually can't win.
Yeah.
Unless Bayern there was to just make like a crazy save and it's like, oh, Amorim's this genius. But you put even more pressure on Bayern there when you do that.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Too hectic.
But in fact, just on that penalties, who's taking them for you?
So obviously Bruno's going to have one. I give one to Money Mace.
Yeah.
I give one to Maguire. He's pretty good at taking pens. I give one to Cobby. No, I don't know. Who else? Lenny, definitely.
Lenny.
I think that's my 5.
Lenny can ping one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Casemiro. Did you say Casemiro?
No, I didn't say Cassie.
Casemiro.
Champions League Cassie?
Yeah.
He has missed one against Coventry.
Don't know.
No, who did we go out for penalties against this season? He scored one.
Did he?
Yeah.
It was in the FA Cup, innit?
But yeah, anyway, whoever's on the penalties, let us know who you will take. We are going to switch over to Mark. Mark is live. We do usually send like a message to flood Mark's chat with. Humzy, since it's your first time, quick message, a quick little line or slogan or whatever to send over to Mark's chat. It could be anything.
Højlund redemption arc.
Okay.
Get that in the chat. Højlund redemption arc. Go.
Højlund redemption arc. Go and flood Mark's chat with Højlund redemption arc. Thanks for watching. We are going back on the forum after the game, hopefully with a win. Hopefully we're going to be celebrating and hopefully we can go and win the Europa League. Thanks for watching and we'll see you on the next one.